What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the crew cab dually, the air ride project that we have going on in the shop right now. But before we can get to the suspension stuff, we have a few things that we got to finish from last week. First things first, I finally got some really nice fender protectors for these things from Legit Street Cars. Really like that dude in his YouTube channel, so I saw that he had some of these for sale and I went ahead and picked them up. And again, these are super nice because it'll really protect, the side of the fender whenever we're working on the engine, like we have been with the Hydro Boost setup and all of that we've been doing to this truck. So I went ahead and picked them up. That way we can keep the beautiful paint on this truck looking nice. In the last video, we started with the fuel tank swap and we didn't get a chance to finish that. So I want to do that in this video and kind of show you everything in as much detail as I can. In the last video, I'll maybe play a clip of us removing this tank, which was honestly a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, having a lift in this cart really helps, but you can definitely do this in your driveway with the bed still on the truck. A lot of guys prefer removing the bed, and I personally don't like removing beds off of these trucks anymore. And honestly, doing it again from under the truck was super easy. It was just unbolting those straps. We lowered it. Your fuel sending unit is going to have 2 fuel lines, 1 electrical connection. You're going to have a vent hose, vent tube, whatever you want to call it. And then your filler neck right here that you undo at the tank. And it honestly slid right out. We lowered it, slid it out, not a problem. And one thing for sure that you want to keep in mind is that you want to have your tank empty, not full, when you do this. My buddy brought me this truck with the tank full, which is not his fault. The truck had been parked for a while without a transmission, and he didn't have a chance to drain the tank, before he brought it over. But no big deal. Like I said, this hydraulic little cart right here, table, made that job super easy because we were able to lift the cart all the way up to the tank and then slowly lower it. Okay, so that gets us to this point right now. So we have this 38-gallon fuel tank that we got from Classic Diesel Designs, I believe. I think you can get these things off of Amazon too. Again, they're readily available. So they're the 38-gallon tank. But anyways, the part where I left off in the last video is me trying to modify the fuel sending unit, or whatever you want to call it, which is this piece right here, which, as you can tell, has been already modified mostly. We extended the fuel pickup on this thing, which with a little 3/8 copper tube and some compression fittings that we got from the hardware store. This should be super solid. I've used this stuff on my air compressor running at like 110 psi and hasn't ever leaked. So I'm pretty confident that with this thing just suctioning fuel, it'll be fine. And I think that's like the industry standard for doing this mod. And again, so we did a little tube that was 5 3/4 of an inch long. It was actually really easy to kind of figure out how long that tube needed to be. So what I did is I removed the vent from the original tank, from the new tank. That vent is directly above where the fuel pickup is. So what I did is I stuck my measuring tape and compared the two differences, and the difference between the bigger tank and the shorter tank is how much I had to extend this pickup right here. And obviously I'll show you a clip of that on the tank a little bit later. This thing is resting perfectly at the bottom of that tank, which means that it should be able to pick up all of the fuel that we need out of there. So now the last thing that we got to do before we can stick this thing in the new tank is I got to modify this fuel level thing, which hopefully ends up not being too tricky. Oh, actually, before I do anything else, on this end, all you got to do is just remove this little hat right here, this little shower head, whatever you want to call it. So you remove this thing from that tube and then put your compression fitting on the tube. And then again, you cut your piece. You obviously have to account for this little bit right here, which is why the difference in the tank is actually not what the difference in the tube is going to be. What I did is I actually measured from here to the bottom of this thing and did some math and got the actual length of this tube. But again, as you can see, like I did too, because the first time it wasn't exactly sitting all the way at the bottom. So I cut another one that was slightly longer, I think 1/8 of an inch, which is, it came out to 5 3/4. But again, don't take my word for it. You know, do your measurement, make sure that everything fits perfectly. Like right now, this thing's not fully crimped. I can still take that out. So that's something that I gotta do before I install it. And we actually even got a new one of these little screen. It's always a good idea to replace those. So we got a brand new one. There is the part number if you're needing one. But anyways, with all of this out of the way, also the reason why I'm replacing it is because, as you can see, it's missing whatever little valve is supposed to be in there. So yeah, now we gotta extend this to come all the way down over here. And all we're gonna use for that is some 3/32 stainless TIG rod. So yeah, I'm gonna pop this thing out of here and start doing some little origami bending with these rods. Yeah, once I have something kind of bent the way that I like it, I'll show you guys, and hopefully everything will read correctly. So far, again, this has been super easy. So really happy with that. Okay, so it looks like, and this thing is a little crusty, but yeah, this should hopefully just be that clip right there that we gotta undo. There we go. So we got this little foot out. So now I'm gonna see what I gotta do to remove it from this little float. I think we got this little washer that we gotta press off right here. Okay, so we got this little nut, clamp, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna set this aside because we definitely don't want to lose it. So I'm gonna actually put that in that little box, take this little float thing out, put it in that little box. And basically what we're gonna do now is copy all of these bends, add an additional bend right here with the amount of extra rod that we need to make up for this difference. So we want to have basically this thing probably like right here. Actually, I'm probably gonna test the old setup and see where it was at, and that way I know exactly how much I gotta add right here and where I want this in relationship to this thing. That way hopefully it sweeps correctly, or as close as we can to that. I guess the most important thing is that we want to read when it's empty. Obviously, you want to have it as accurate as possible, but where it really counts is when it's empty. So as long as we know when it's empty, you know, that's the main thing. And I'm gonna Okay, so it's gonna be a little bit hard to see. We have the fuel pickup, sending unit, whatever you want to call it, in the tank. Shower head is right at the bottom of the tank of that indentation, about as centered as we can get it. And then the fuel level, little leg, also right where it needs to be. You want it a little bit above the shower head. I mean, that looks about perfect to me. So we should know when we're out of fuel, and we should be able to pick up every last little bit of fuel that we have left in there. So really happy with that. So now we're gonna go ahead. Oh, actually, I gotta show you one more thing. Okay, so now the last thing that I want to show you is that you do have to modify the actual fuel tank to accept this little deal right here. So just take this all the way out. So these fuel cell units have these little locating tabs on them that correspond to the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank doesn't have them in the correct spot that we need for this to be able to fit on the tank, and that's just super easy to fix. What you want to do is you will put your sending unit in the tank, you know, about where it needs to be. And it's actually pretty cool because it has little arrows pointing to where those tabs are at. So it's got an arrow there, and you've got a little arrow right there. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, arrow, arrow. So what I did is, you might be able to see with the little Sharpie, I marked where that arrow is pointing. So once I was happy with where it was at, we removed it, and then with some little tin snips, we went ahead and cut the two little slits, and then we bent them back, and that was basically it. So now this thing's gonna be able to locate, as you can see, right where it needs to be perfectly. We'll be able to use that locking ring and everything, and this is gonna be beautiful and perfect, and it's gonna be all the fuel that this big girl is gonna need to get to wherever it needs to go. Alrighty guys, so we're getting ready to put the fuel tank back in its place, and I'm gonna start by hanging this hardware on there. So I believe one of them goes here, the other one must go right here. I'm just going off of the top ones because there's, as you can see, a whole bunch of holes on this frame, and all this hardware is included with that fuel tank. I'll leave a link to where I bought it down below. Again, like I said, I believe it was from Classic Diesel Designs, I want to say. So luckily this thing's pretty empty. It's pretty light. Just a little awkward. There we go. Got the fuel fill. So hopefully you guys can see me. But before I made any of the connections, I wanted to test fit this thing in there and make sure that it was going to fit the way that it was supposed to. Kind of looking at it, everything looks fine. The lip and everything is inside of this thing like it should be. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to lower it back down a little bit again. Maybe get one of these jacks to hold it in place and make all the connections up top. So yeah. There we go. You're mine. Okay guys, I will admit I did mess up the first time that I installed the tank because I forgot to. So it's gonna be super hard to see. But I forgot the fuel filler neck. I forgot that I had to tighten it in place with the hose clamp on right there. So we lowered it back down. I actually got one of my guys, Linus, to help me. I kind of guided the tank here on the filler neck, and then he pushed. We got it to go in all the way, and then I kind of went in through the top with a screwdriver and tightened up that hose clamp. So now that we have that on, I'm going to go back, redo the hoses, and finish the install. Okay, so what I learned from this side is that if you put the back of the strap first, like towards the bumper, and then come and put the front side, it's a lot easier. Alrighty guys, and just like that, we've got the fuel tank completely done. All the lines are plugged in, harnesses, vent lines, the little straps, the fuel filler neck, everything is done. And man, it is in there. Honestly, it doesn't hang down nearly as much as I thought it was going to. But again, actually a very easy, simple mod, not hard at all. I was kind of worried, you know, especially with having to extend all that stuff, that it was going to be hard. But no, went in very, very easy. Really happy with this, and I am considering doing it to my truck, honestly. So now that we're done with that, I was thinking about moving forward in this video and doing finishing the hydro boost and all that. But I think in the interest of keeping these videos pretty informative, so you guys can actually do these stuff, and it doesn't get the last clip kind of cut off at the middle of one of my sentences. But what I was trying to say is that I was gonna try and do the hydro boost swap in this video too, but in the interest of kind of keeping these videos pretty informative in a way that you guys can follow them and find them later, and you know, not have to like dig through videos, I'm gonna do the hydro boost a little bit in the next video in a more like informative step-by-step, even though we kind of already have it halfway installed. That's going to be part of the next video. You guys can see I've been gathering a whole bunch of parts and kind of trying to do this in a way that, again, will be a really nice, easy to follow video, as hopefully this fuel tank install video was. We already edited this video and I checked it out, and I'm pretty happy with the way that it turned out. So you guys let me know if you like this style of videos. But just so you guys know, after we get these two videos done with the fuel tank and with the hydro boost, we are going to be jumping back to actual suspension fab. I have pretty much everything that I need for the front end air ride on this thing done. We started on the rear air ride design, as well as on this truck. I have the cradle design done, the coilover tower design done. So the following video, after we do the hydro boost, we're going to come back to suspension stuff, and it's either going to be on this truck or this truck. Actively working on both trucks, so it's kind of hard to do like a proper timeline, and I don't know if I want to like do all the videos on this truck and then all the videos on this truck. I feel like that's going to be kind of hard to keep track as far as editing goes, so we might bounce around between the two trucks, even though, again, like I said, we're pretty much working on them just side by side. Also, check this out. Love it. Got a whole bunch of fab radius arms done, coil buckets. Man, I've been loving the laser. Like in a day, we were able to cut so much stuff, like all of this stuff that will keep us busy for like a couple of weeks, which I love it. And again, it took us like half a day. Super excited about the progress that we're making with these trucks. I love learning new things, so like doing that fuel tank, something that if you guys are interested in us doing while your truck is here in the shop, definitely is something that we can do for you guys. And I keep getting asked questions about other stuff that we can do. And again, we want to be as a full stop shop as we can as far as builds go. So like little by little, especially as you know, like Justin gets more familiar with these trucks and everything, start adding more stuff like injectors, turbos, stuff like that. And you know, who knows, one day maybe we might do entire engine builds and stuff like that. But for now, we do want to keep it pretty suspension focused. Hey guys, again, a huge thank you for watching, for supporting us, for sending us your trucks. And if you have any questions whatsoever about the install, about what I used to get that fuel tank in this truck, leave them down in the comments. I will get to them. Leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to follow these builds and a whole bunch of other stuff that we have going on. Hype the video. I think that's a new feature. So go ahead and hype the video. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.